Hello and welcome to Inspirational.com's YouTube channel. My name is Fayaz. You might have heard about Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki, the man who has written several books. One of his premium or the most popular book is The Rich Dad Poor Dad. The book that he had written almost 20 years back, but it is still considered to be a bestseller. Not just that book, he has also written several other books after that, like The Rich Dad Poor Dad Quadrant, Who Stole My Pension, etc. etc. And he also has a YouTube channel. He also has a board game which basically teaches you about personal finance and how to become wealthy and how to become rich. So in this video, we'll try and understand what are the 9 ways or the 9 tips that are being given by Robert Kiyosaki that you and me can also implement in our life to become a much more better and a richer version of ourselves. So without further ado, let's get to the point. The number one thing that Robert Kiyosaki has spoken a lot about in his books and in his videos is that we need to build our financial education. Even when he was in his initial days of his career, he has paid for a lot of sessions. He has attended a lot of seminars in order to increase his knowledge about real estate investment, about personal finance, about money matters. And that's what we should also be doing, because we do not really spend a lot of money in order to learn something new. We are a little hesitant when it comes to paying for seminars, when it comes to taking up app subscriptions. We always are taken aback by the fact that we have to pay money. As long as things are free, we are motivated, we are encouraged to go ahead and watch it or to learn from it. But the moment when the money comes in picture, we are a little hesitant now and we almost like take 2 steps back before we go further. But the fact is that if at all you want to become a much more richer version of yourself, you should definitely invest a lot more in acquiring new knowledge. It can be in any form. It can be by listening to podcasts. It can be reading the books. It can be probably subscribing for the right kind of newspapers. It can be probably by watching the right kind of videos on YouTube. So definitely you should spend a lot more money in order to learn a lot more and increase and improve your financial education. The second thing that you have to do is that you need to take control of your finances. Rather, what happens is that in everyday life, we are driven by our financial expenses, we are driven by our financial commitments, we are driven by our financial obligations, but you should rather be on the driving side. You should take control of all these kind of expenses and all these kind of things that are happening around you, because that's how you'll be able to keep a control on not just your income, but also you'll be able to reduce your expenses and eventually become a much more wealthier version of yourself. The third thing that Robert Kiyosaki stresses about is the fact that you need to pay yourself first. What happens is that usually whenever our salary comes, the first thing that comes to our head is that let me pay off my rent, let me pay off my EMIs, let me pay off my credit card bills, let me take care of my internet bill, let me pay off my Wi-Fi bill. But the first person or the first thing that you should definitely be paying is the thing called you. You should definitely be paying yourself first. You should definitely be taking care of yourself, your expenses, your desires, because that's how you'll be able to keep yourself happy and motivated. And if at all you are not happy and motivated yourself, how will you be able to take care of all these kind of commitments that are around you? So definitely you should try and pay yourself first, and business houses also do this, and that's how they are able to save a lot more money when it comes to paying their taxes also. The fourth thing that Robert Kiyosaki has stressed a lot about in his books is having a contingency plan. A contingency plan is basically a plan B or a backup plan. What if your primary plan doesn't work out? What if this particular kind of a business that you're trying to build is not scalable? You should always have something to fall back upon. I know there might be some people who might disagree with this particular point, because there are a lot of other influencers also who have spoken about the fact that you should definitely not have a plan B, because you should definitely have one particular plan. And if at all you keep looking back and instead of walking on the path that is in front of you, you'll definitely not be able to go further in your life. But if at all you want to go with this particular point, it's up to you. But this is what Robert Kiyosaki has mentioned in a lot of his videos, and definitely this is something that you and me can also learn something from, and definitely we can, if at all we want to, we can implement this particular factor as well in order to become a richer version of ourselves. The next point which Robert Kiyosaki has stressed a lot about in his videos is the fact that you need to spend on assets rather than spending on liabilities. Now, what do I mean by that? Assets are basically anything that helps you put money in your pocket, and liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Now, if at all you have probably a building that is basically given to you by your parents or by your elders, that is kept idle and you're not making anything out of it. You're not using it. It's in your native place and you're not even like visiting it often. So that becomes something that is idle. Now, if at all you give that particular property for rental, and you're generating rental income out of it, now that becomes an asset, because that is now putting money in your pocket and that is now helping you to make more money, and that's how you'll be able to generate revenue out of that particular kind of business. On the other hand, if at all you have plans of probably buying a brand new car, In that case, that's not a great idea, because you will have to basically pay a lot of money in the form of EMI, in the form of down payment. And if at all you are using that particular car for your personal recreation or for your personal enjoyment, in that case, that can be considered as a liability, and that is something that's taking money out of your pocket, and it's basically something that you should definitely be avoiding as much as possible. The sixth thing that Robert Kiyosaki has stressed a lot about in his books is the fact that you need to make money work for you rather than you working for money. Now, I know it sounds a little confusing, but let me clear it out for you. So basically, we all general middle class human beings of our country are basically hustling every day very, very hard in order to take care of our personal expenses, in order to take care of our family. But we are eventually working for money. Now, how do you make money work for you? It's very, very simple. You need to keep that money in some kind of investments. You need to put that money in some kind of good equity funds. You need to invest in some good company shares. You can probably start your own business. And that's how the money that's kept idle in your home will eventually start working, and eventually will help you to make much more money out of that particular amount that's there with you. So if at all you keep your money in your bank account, or maybe in your home, in your locker, that's not how you'll be able to make money work for you. But if at all you are taking that money out and putting it in some kind of business, in that way you are helping money work for you. The seventh thing that you have to focus is that you need to understand the difference between good debt and a bad debt. So anything that is basically any kind of loan that you're taking in order to make more money out of it, now that is a good debt. And what is a bad debt? Maybe a personal loan, or maybe your credit card bills. These kind of bills, these kind of loans, these kind of dues, which are basically taking money out of your pocket and are not helping you to make more money. Now that is a bad debt. So if at all you want to become rich, you should try and avoid all these bad debts. If at all you're seeing yourself as a rich and a successful version of yourself, you need to start taking the right kind of loans. You need to start taking mudra loans. You need to start taking some kind of business loans. You need to start taking probably home loans in order to build and construct your own house, and that's how you'll be able to generate revenue from it. And if at all you are a person who takes a lot of personal loans to travel, to buy appliances, or to probably buy a brand new phone, now that is a bad loan, and that is a bad debt, and definitely you should try and avoid it as much as possible. The eighth thing that Robert Kiyosaki has spoken a lot about in his books is the fact that you need to learn from your mistakes. So the wise people are those that basically learn from the mistakes, but the wiser or the smartest are those who learn from other people's mistake also. If at all there are people around you, it can be your friends, family, or your colleagues who are probably making certain kind of mistakes, and if at all they are getting bullied for it, or maybe if at all they are getting some kind of scoldings for it, then definitely you should understand the fact that this is something that you can avoid in order to become like a much more prosperous version of yourself, and that's how you'll be able to make the least amount of mistakes, and that's how you'll be able to use that energy or that motivation of yours in the right direction, and eventually you'll be able to scale up your business. And not just your business, you'll also be able to level up in your personal life and professional life as well. And the last but definitely not the least, the point that you need to focus is the fact that you need to take advantage of the market downturns. Now, what happens is that whenever there is a situation like the global pandemic that happened recently, or maybe the situation like the global recession that happened back in 2008, a lot of people were in chaos. A lot of people were worried. A lot of people were in tension because they were thinking that the market will collapse, everything will go down now, and things will now become very, very worse. But that's not how it functions. A lot of rich people actually become much more richer in situations like this because they are able to take advantage of the low prices. Low prices of not just properties, but low prices of a lot of stocks, low prices of a lot of mutual funds, low prices of a lot of business opportunities as well. And that's how you should be able to take advantage of all these things by keeping adequate amount of liquidity with you. If at all you have kept all your money in any kind of investment, and if at all you don't have any kind of money in the form of cash with you, then definitely that is something that can be a negative symbol, because if at all there is any opportunity that comes up like the global pandemic or like the recession, then you should be in a position to take the right kind of stocks or take the right kind of advantage of such situations. So like this, if you want to learn more about personal finance, career building, farming and business, you can download the Financial Freedom app. There we have made more than 55 plus courses which are available in 6 different languages that will talk about personal finance, career building, farming and business, which are available in 6 different languages. Definitely you should have a look at that particular thing as well. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and also share it with your friends and family. And if at all you have any feedbacks or comments, you can always leave them in the comment section. My name is Fayaz and you're watching IndianMoney.com.